Hey everyone, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are going to be doing a rural styled Japanese themed entry. So I've had an itch to do a Japanese theme again for quite some time, but I've had literally no spark of inspiration to get started until today. I woke up today feeling inspired and just, ready to finally tackle the theme. This is going to have a dream address eventually, and I'll do my best to share as many builds as possible through this journey that I'm about to start through this island, and hopefully this will inspire anybody who is wanting to do a similar theme but doesn't know where to start. And my entry is definitely going to be out of my comfort zone for two reasons. I'm using base game paths, which I hate using a lot. They're just a pain in the butt to me. And then two, I'm not using the traditional road codes that we've been seeing. I'm going to be using these transparent road designs, and I'll be using also this other really lovely road design as well. And it's kind of like chippy and broken. So all the codes that we're using today can be found on my Instagram, which is linked in the description, and we will be listing some into the description as well. But a lot of the creators that I'm using these codes from requested that their Instagram must be credited if I'm going to use them on any of my live streams or YouTube videos. So for proper credit reasons, their Instagrams will be included for the ones that were requested to do so. So if you don't have Instagram, I apologize about this. I'm respecting that request from the creators, and I want them to have that full credit for their hard work. And if you don't have Instagram, I definitely recommend making one, because I share content off of YouTube that you won't see. I don't always document all of my builds. So if you're curious on what I'm doing off screen, you'll see all these different island builds that I've been showing on social media, as well as some other active builds that I have not been putting on YouTube yet. So I definitely recommend making an Instagram for that reason, and also because you'll have access to all the codes that I use 24/7. And one last thing I want to include in this beginning intro is a disclaimer that I'm not putting on all of my videos. So if you're one of my regular followers, you're already going to know this information. But on my older videos, I've been getting a lot of comments about this. So it's just going to make my life a little bit easier to disclaim this beginning of all of my videos. So you're going to notice my camera is really zoomed out, and that's because I have a modded console running custom firmware. What that means is my console is hacked, and the only way to do this is if your console is not patched. Modding is a very hard and requires a lot of commitment kind of a thing. So if you're curious about modding and want to learn more about it, head over to my Instagram highlights, and on my Q&A highlight, I have a bunch of information on there if you are curious about what it does for me as an Animal Crossing creator. I also plan to do some more natural builds on my next few videos, and those will be posted sometime next week. So make sure you have your notifications on and hit that subscribe button if you are one of my natural followers and wanting some inspiration for your island. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about today's build. So as mentioned earlier, we are doing a rural styled Japanese entry, and the reason why I decided to do this kind of style is I personally struggle with putting my villagers in spots. If you visit my older DAs, you're going to see that a lot of my villagers are just neglected on the beach, and it's because I totally forget to place them on my island builds. So I'm trying to incorporate them more now on my future dream addresses, and with Citycore especially, I just struggle with their placement. So I thought having an entry that's kind of like a village sort of style with two of my villagers up front would help, make space for them, but also kind of like incorporate them into the builds. So as always, I don't have an actual plan with this whole entire island. I usually wing all of my islands. If you are a new follower or somebody stopping by, I go into every single island without a plan. I know this is not realistic for everybody, but not having a plan kind of just allows my creativity to, just go. And I've always been this way through everything in life. Like in real life, if I do any drawing, I'm the same way. I just kind of let and see where my ideas take me, and sometimes they work and sometimes they are a complete mess. Like if you follow my Instagram, you'll see me switch themes so many times, and it's because I hit blocks a lot on my island. So Trust me when I say that as a creator, I hit that wall all the time. And I'm just like you regular players who always come to me in my DMs asking me, how do you feel inspired 24/7? Or how do you make builds so fast? And honestly, it is like a roller coaster. Behind camera, where y'all don't see me, it's just a constant battle with myself. Like, do I like this? Should I tear it down? Should I restart? And I'm like in that zone almost every single day. And then I see everyone's beautiful islands, and I swear that just makes it 10 times worse, because then I compare my island to them. And this is something that I'm hoping to kind of bring awareness to. You should never compare your island to anybody. And I have to tell myself that like 24/7, because I am my worst critic. I will always belittle my hard work. So definitely realize, if you are somebody in that position like me, that everything you do on your island is beautiful. Put your heart into it and just love your island regardless of what social media standards have. Don't compare yourself to other people's islands. Just put all of your love into your island, and trust me, you'll surprise yourself. So that is my advice to everybody who has been asking me those questions, for the last, I don't even know how many days it is, but y'all, that is my advice to you. And hopefully I can take my own advice, because I'm like this all the time. I always dirty delete my islands because I just get so insecure about it. And I'm trying to be better about that. But sometimes I'll go into a theme and I'll realize quickly that the theme is not for me. Like, I'm just not enjoying it. And I want to make content that not only I can enjoy, but y'all can enjoy too. Because if my heart's not in it, y'all are going to notice that. So I want all of my builds to always have my full 100%. So as you can see on the build, we've made quite a bit of progress. You can now kind of get the general idea of what your staple items are going to be through building buildings like this. Especially with Japanese Citycore, your items are going to be pretty straightforward. It's basically going to be all of these that you're seeing right now, but obviously placing them differently on each build and just kind of blending them differently, doing different codes, etc. Japanese Citycore is definitely one of my favorites because the aesthetic is just so pleasing to the eye. There are so many great codes and items on Animal Crossing for this theme. If you have not made a Japanese Citycore yet, I highly suggest doing it. It is probably my top favorite Citycore to make. And I definitely have a lot of future different styles for this planned out. It's just, trying to get my other themes finished first. But I'm really excited to finally be doing a rural styled Japanese Citycore, just because I've been wanting to do one for quite some time. And I really want to do a lot of scenic and anime inspired areas as well. So if you have any recommendations on what to place on this island or things you would love to see me create, let me know in the comment section below, because again, I'm going through this build with no set plans, and y'all's feedback always helps me determine on how an island is gonna develop. Another thing I want to also point out is we're going to be using trash items on this theme, and normally in Japanese culture and in real life places, there is literally no trash unless you're like going early AM before the trash is picked up. Japan is really beautiful, and there's really no trash at all in the really nice big cities. And I decided to use trash items on this island just because I really love how they can fill a spot in, and I'm obsessed with the trash items in general. But if you are somebody who wants to be culturally correct on this, then make sure you definitely do some research before starting one. But my island is definitely just going to be inspired by Japan. There is definitely going to be some things that are not, in Japanese culture, but again, I just kind of want to put my own twist to this. So if you are somebody who definitely wants to be correct on all of the items that are used on a Japanese themed island, definitely do some research before starting one. So a useful tip I have for Citycore: if you want to reduce lag on your island, do not decorate every single spot of a stall when you're creating buildings. I'm doing it on this one because it's at the entry and I want it to be very detailed, and you're going to notice some item loading on this video regardless, and that's because of my wide camera that I mentioned earlier in the video. Because it's capturing so much of the Animal Crossing screen, everything just loads really quickly and the game kind of has trouble with projecting that. But if you are somebody in general who just wants no lag, definitely use that tip. So right now I'm gonna map out where I want the villager houses to be, and I want them definitely at the entry. So that is what this terraform right here on each side is gonna be. It's roughly a 4x4 square for the villager house, so I'm just kind of sitting here trying to map it and frame it without it feeling too structured, but I do want it to be, you know, matching and equal on both sides. So I'm going to keep the villager yards pretty simple, but I want them to feel decorated and blending in with the decor that I'm choosing for this entry. So hopefully this kind of brings any inspiration for those struggling to decorate their villager houses, because trust me, I get it. I normally just keep my villagers pretty simple, but being that we're doing a Citycore, I do want them to blend and feel finished. So this is kind of the layout and decor that I'm choosing for each of them. So now I'm just going to go around this area and fill it in with different items to kind of make it feel more complete and not as empty. So now I'm just adding a couple final touches and this entry build is pretty much done. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it, and also future builds you'd love to see me create. I had a lot of fun making this entry and I look forward to hearing y'all's feedback, but also continuing this island as well. I have so many ideas. I just hope that I don't get any blocks. So any ideas and encouragement is also always appreciated. I will see you next week with a new video. Thank you so much for watching.